Hi, I'm Kanza. I started a platform called Mind Over Meta IO, which is a platform to explore the real stories behind entrepreneurship and not just highlight the real successes, but also the fails and the lessons learned behind every successful business. And as a student, I've always been curious about how ideas turn into something bigger, like a real business. And I'm so excited to learn from people who've actually lived through it. So if you don't mind, could you tell me your name and what your business is?
My name is Alena Hakansson, and I am the managing director for a company called The Business Year. It's a media group that specializes in business intelligence. We interview heads of state, ministers, governors, CEOs, founders, chairmen, and we help to articulate the business climate of different countries around the world, primarily emerging markets. We promote a lot of thought leadership, and we help to really navigate what the regulatory environments are, what are the trends, the areas of opportunities, and then who are the major players in each of the respected markets. So I've been doing this around the world for well over a decade now. I currently run Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. I used to run our Dubai projects. I've lived in Nigeria, Malta, Laos, Greece, Jordan, the Caribbean.
Oh my God.
Colombia. So I've been all over the world.
Yeah. So I'm just going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd just love to hear your responses. So what was the first idea or project that you ever had that got you thinking, like, you like what you're doing now? And like, even if it completely failed, like, how did you know this is what you wanted to do?
Well, it wasn't this, actually. So I did have a business before. I partnered into a business with a woman who had created this movement pattern. Essentially, it was yoga designed for high performance athletes, and she had been training elite athletes across North America for a couple of years and really wanted to scale the business. And I was coming out of a bit of an entrepreneurial role, but still within a company. And I thought, okay, if not now, when? And I've always been really into health and wellness. And I was debating it, humming and hawing, deciding what it was that I really wanted to do. And I don't think in those cases you ever really know the answer.
No, yeah, of course. So difficult to find out. Like, you never know.
Yeah, you don't. You don't. There is no right answer. There's only lessons. And so her and I were speaking. We got along extremely well. And essentially, I navigated it as, well, worst case scenario is this completely fails. I lose a bunch of money, and the relationship is ruined, and I painted the worst case scenario for myself. And I said, if that's the worst case scenario, what will I do? And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to be fine. I'm young. I can bounce back. If I want to learn anything to do with entrepreneurial avenues, now would be the time to do it because I don't have anything to lose. And I did. I lost everything. I didn't lose the relationship. She's still one of my best friends. I see her every year. She's a hugely important person in my life. But we were trying to build out the right team. We were trying to raise capital. We did raise capital. We put it into bricks and mortar instead of digital. And there were a few mistakes that we did.
But that's of course so normal. Like, along the way, like, you just have to learn, and like, everyone learns only from the mistakes that you make.
It's true, absolutely. So that was, I guess, the first decision I had ever made about something entrepreneurial, something very without having any safety net, and it completely failed. But I think that that's so important. I think we have every single entrepreneur, every business leader goes through failures. It's about how do you bounce back from that.
Mm-hmm. So my next question was, like, often people only see the successes, so what's one failure, but you already answered that. And yeah, I agree. Like, I think it's so important that, like, if you don't go through failures, you won't actually know. Like, you have to learn lessons from the mistakes you make, and like, that's the only way to grow.
Yeah, and they're uncomfortable. It's not like, oh, I went left instead of right. No, these are sometimes cataclysmic failures. And I think the more you can learn that earlier in your career, the better. The more risks you can take when you're young, the better, because there's just less risk in that. I mean, of course, there's still risk, but you'll always be able to bounce back. The difference is when you get older, you feel, although this is your ego talking, you feel, no, it's not even just time. It's about, okay, well, at that point you have more responsibilities. Maybe you're married with kids. Maybe you've got mortgages. Maybe you have a particular set of your career in a particular country, and in order to what you think make a move is, you feel as though you have to take a major drop in salary or prestige, and this can be much more challenging when you are further in your career, further in your company.
Like, it's so much harder when you're already so deep in. Like, instead if you're like just starting, it's better to take the risk then, so you know.
And you can apply it when you're younger. If you make a risk when you are 22 versus, 52, you add that lesson to your repertoire, to your tool to your toolkit, and then you can apply that later on, which is so much more beneficial than, learning all the difficult lessons when you're in your 50s. And that's not to say that your 50s, you can't be still learning lessons. It's just that in entrepreneurial avenues or in any business avenues, you really hope that you can do as much as you can younger on, so you can apply that, like compounding interest.
Yeah, of course. So was that like the point where you thought like, okay, I'm done, like I gave up? Like, did you feel like that at all, or you knew you were gonna bounce back?
I don't
if you think past, how, what was your mind thinking when this happened, when you failed?
Well, to be honest, I didn't know if I had actually failed, because I always had this mindset of you have to struggle to succeed. And it took me a long time to
that's
unbraid.
So true.
But it's not. You don't have to struggle to succeed. That's your own core belief system.
Yeah.
And so therefore that core belief system always made me think that if I'm going through really challenging times, then success is just on the other side. And that's not necessarily always the case. Yeah. Like, you can't just keep on doubling down on your bet until you are totally broke, homeless, and in shatters. You have to know when the parameters are. And so at the time I kept on thinking, I'm going to double down. And there was a moment where I realized it was just a really big moment of my life. I had lost a parent, I had lost my grandparent, I had lost a lot at that point, and just psychologically and financially, I couldn't do everything at the same time. So rather than continuing down this entrepreneurial path where we were going through major disagreements in terms of where to deploy the capital, I thought this was actually a good time for me to be pulling back. I still really was struggling with that decision of, maybe I just lost this major idea. Maybe this is going to blow up and be millions and millions and millions of dollars. This is going to be a huge company, and I just dropped out. But at the same time, I had this really unique opportunity to start doing what I do now, and that was to move around the world and interview global leaders. And that seemed like a very interesting pivot for me. And so I really crashed at that moment, but I never thought of it as I don't think anybody ever thinks, oh my God, well, maybe they do. They think I'm absolutely done, but that's not going to be beneficial. You have to remember that you just have to put one foot in front of the other. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, with these big decisions, you really never know what the right decision is, and you just have to go with what you feel is best. Because at the end of the day, you could drop the company and it could be $1 billion, but you just have to do what you feel is best.
Yeah, I think the more you can add mentors to your life and people who have been through it, the more you can read, the more you learn. But then there's only so much theory. Then you have to go into the practicum, and you learn by doing. There's this Rumi quote. I don't remember exactly what it is, but essentially it talks about that the path reveals itself as you're moving through it. And sometimes that's the only way forward. You have to be building the airplane in the sky. The airplane isn't necessarily going to be built perfectly before you take off.
Yeah.
Well, I hope real airplanes are, but like in business, it's a constant movement. Entrepreneurs know it. I mean, that is what a business is. You are taking a calculated risk at the beginning, and you're hoping that it pays off. And then there's going to be these pieces that come at you that force you to pivot and hopefully get better.
And is there like a specific mindset shift like you made throughout your career that has made you grow as a person? And like what difference has it made on you? And like
so many
accomplished. Like if you had to choose one, the most important.
A major mindset shift. I think I had, so other than the success equals or struggle equals success, there's another one. I had this perfection aspect where I was terrified of doing anything wrong. And so I felt as though everything I did had to be perfect. I put a lot of pressure on myself. And though that made me successful in some ways, it was incredibly deeply challenging at all times because I was so terrified to fail. And that's also not the way to build. It's like you have to trust yourself that you're going to bounce back, and you have to know that you're going to have these moments of what doesn't maybe seem like a success. And I think the other thing, I mean, there's just so many that you
I can relate to that. Like, I feel like it's so hard, like when you feel like you always have to like do well and like put so much pressure on yourself. But like at the end of the day, like no one is perfect, and like you can't put that much pressure on yourself to do so many things at once. Like you just have to take it one step at a time.
Yeah, you do. And I think the other thing as well is when you have that perfection mindset, it actually inhibits you from doing anything. You think it's going to make you super successful, but at the same time, it actually limits you from doing the things that seem like fun. And sometimes those fun pieces are exactly what add value. They talk about, I think it was Steve Jobs who did the calligraphy course that integrated that into, the programs. I don't remember if that was exactly how it worked, but you think about when you add pleasure and fun to what it is that you're doing, either that
you want to do it.
And it becomes even the pleasure aspect is what allows you to be more playful when things are, and you don't worry about whether you're failing or not, because that is part of the whole
experience. It's what you want to do. Yeah. And if you had to give advice to a student or like someone like me who had big ideas and wanted to become an entrepreneur and like get involved in the business world heavily, what would you tell them? Like, what's one piece of advice you would like you wish you knew when you were younger?
I think, well, there's so many, but definitely I think always a good idea so I'll caveat this. The concept is that go to people who have done something similar and ask for their guidance, but always take that with a grain of salt as well, because I think one of the pieces that youth have that the older generation doesn't have, first of all, there's technology and AI and all of these things.
That was my next question about AI.
Yeah, and so that's a tool that younger people can implement and that they know so much better than a lot of, more senior people. But also the fact that one of the things that the youth can bring are novel ideas, because once you've been doing something for so long, you really put on blinders in order to be successful at that thing, whether it's the company or yourself as a leader, whatever the case may be. That malleability and that novel approach that young people bring to the table, that they bring to problems, that they bring to their profession, that is absolutely critical for success, I think. So I will say those two things. And then the other is to just, at least from my side, to just do it, because the more often you keep on saying yes to yourself, the easier it continues to be to say yes to yourself. if you're constantly telling yourself in your head or vocally, I can't do it, or I shouldn't do it, or these are the reasons it's not going to work, you're already stopping yourself. And so just continue to say yes to yourself and you'll constantly surprise yourself.
That was a great answer. And my last question is, what role do you think AI has in maybe the business you're working in now, or just in the business world in general? Like, do you think it's helpful? Do you think it will take over? Do you think, like, what are your opinions on it?
Well, I mean, it's going to take over in a massive way. Absolutely. And how that implements within so many of our jobs, I think, is yet to be seen. I think anything that's repetitive can be and will be replaced. I think anything that is kind of that, which is the challenge, because of course this is where people grow, right? So, for example, in advertising, there's a copywriter and there's a designer. Those young those junior teams basically learn by trying and failing, and then in order to keep on growing within the career, they're being essentially mentored by creative directors, etc. Well, in order to be making those macro decisions as a creative director, you really had to understand the nuances going through your career. But a junior person can't automatically become a creative director, and yet the creative director is the one who needs to implement AI in order to make all of these systems more efficient. So we are going to be getting these gaps in the entire system, and I think that's going to be quite interesting in terms of the trajectory of particular industries. I think it's going to shift how we get information. I think it's going to shift how we everything from, I mean, it depends on the sector, but that access to information, it's going to really need people, specialists, in order to direct how that goes. I think connecting people, connecting ideas, connecting regions, anything that has a very human element to it is going to stay. But I do think we have yet to really see how this can be embedded into its maximum capacity. Yeah. I am also very concerned about, because AI is a self-generating, it's going to be a self-learning aspect, so it can continue to grow much faster than we can in terms of capacity. And so then it becomes a much more, and it becomes a much bigger. It's
scary. Like, we don't know, like, for example, for me, like, most of the jobs that people my age are gonna have are probably not even existed by now, and like the only jobs that like would stay like untouched by AI or stuff that need like real human, like for example movies, like AI can't, like actors, like they couldn't take that over, you know what I mean? But like when it's like research and like stuff like that, AI is gonna impact it so much, so it's scary.
But actors can be replaced, and they have been. We're seeing AI create these unbelievable experiences. True. So I think there are going to be certain roles that can't be taken over, at least for the next little while. But just like you said, for young people right now, there's going to be jobs that are created that we don't even know about it. And I think going forward, there's going to be new industries even created. I mean, we look at this social economy, these creator economy that didn't exist, 10, 15 years ago. And then you've got, I mean, there's just so much that's going to be coming down the pipeline. And so I think that's, when we look at that, I don't think we should look at it right now because there's no stopping it. I don't think we should look at it as though it's the enemy. I think we should look at it as though, okay, well, yeah, I mean, and first of all, what are my own, for you as a young person, what are your own personal interests? And then lean into AI and continue to ask it questions. Okay, well, what are we going to need in 5-10 years if this continues? And where are my skill sets going to be best used? And what are the skill sets I need to learn for the next 5 years in order to be ready for this? And then we can use it as a teammate rather as a combatant.
Yeah, like I think it's so important to learn that like it's not against you. Like it can also help you if it's used like properly. but like obviously it's scary to see that it like could get out of hand.
For sure. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time and all your answers. Like, I learned so much about everything, and all your insights really helped me gain a deeper understanding of just business in general and different approaches to take. So thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.